This woman paid a high price to rent a filthy apartment. Yet she swung a sledgehammer and smashed the bathroom wall. That's because 2 years ago, Iris had hidden a mysterious package inside. It was her backup plan, something that could save her life in a critical moment. First, she tossed her wig aside. She arranged the cash, cell phone, and SIM card in order. Then she cut off the tag from her dress and carefully hid it at the very bottom of the trash can. Then covered it with a canvas tarp. The next step was the most critical. She deliberately pointed the scissors toward the trash can and left a gap of just 2 centimeters. Once everything was ready, she called her police lover and asked him to help her escape safely. If she were caught, she would drag him down with her. This was another part of her backup plan. Fortunately, the 2 years she'd invested in their relationship had paid off. It turned out the police officer sent to arrest her had arrived downstairs. She hurriedly put on her coat and ran down to the first floor before she was surrounded. Instead of leaving the building, she slipped into the storage room. Had she been a moment later, she might have been caught. By the time the armed police stormed through the door, she was already long gone. She ran to the very back of the storage room, casually tossed the dress into a metal bucket. Then she filled it with dirty water and stacked another metal bucket on top of it. Once everything was back in its place, she quietly pulled open the storage room's back door. And once again, her timing was perfect. No sooner had she fled than the police arrived on the scene. She even remembered to add an extra lock before disappearing into the parade crowd. However, just as she stepped into an alley, she brushed past 2 patrol officers.
Excuse me, miss. Miss.
She immediately darted into the maze of narrow alleys. But just as she burst out of the street corner, she collided head-on with another patrol officer. By the time she got back to her feet, it was already too late. Caught between the 2 officers, she was immediately hauled into a deserted alley, since she was suspected of murder. The police weren't about to go easy on a woman. One of them stood watch while the other beat her, although she explained that the police had arrested the wrong person. The more she denied it, the fiercer their blows became. If this continued, she would have been beaten to death on the spot. Fortunately, at that very moment, the trap she had set up in her apartment paid off. The female police chief discovered in the trash can that the clothes she had taken off were still warm. At the same time, the package hidden in the wall was still there, all brand new clothes with their tags still attached. This proved that the suspect had changed her appearance. The chief reacted quickly and found the tags. Wouldn't that allow them to match the clothes? So she ordered everyone to begin a search. This was Iris's lifeline. As luck would have it, the female police chief cooperated just in time. After scanning the barcode, they confirmed it was the dress Iris had thrown away. So they immediately broadcast the suspect's clothing description. As a result, she escaped once again. But leaving the isolated island proved even more difficult than she'd imagined. It turned out that the staged car accident she'd set up early that morning had been taken over by the police, and the bounty hunter who'd been bludgeoned to death last night was, in fact, an officer from the Special Operations Division. She wanted to catch a boat out as soon as possible, but found that security at the pier had been tightened. She had no choice but to ask her lover for help. After all, the crime of killing a police officer was no trivial matter, especially since the 2 of them had photos of her. The female police chief immediately recognized her as a private tutor, and the crucial task of leading the way fell squarely on her lover's shoulders. As a result, they quickly managed to extract the address of her apartment from the girl's parents. Meanwhile, she was already struggling with another problem. She discovered that all her bank accounts had been frozen, and she'd received a threatening email from Cameron. If she couldn't decode the serial number to reboot the dormant mainframe, a hitman would blow her head off and then drag her out to drag her body across the ground. She immediately called back, only to find out that the caller already knew she was hiding on the island. She then escaped thanks to a tip-off from her lover, but had no choice but to call the girl she tutored again. To her surprise, the girl offered to help of her own accord. So the next moment, the girl quietly made her way to the cabin and used the password to open the safe under the floor. It turned out there was another safe beneath it, containing a briefcase. All she had to do was hide it in a tree hollow in the woods and cover the opening with dead wood, and the girl would have done her part and been free to go home. But she never imagined that her every move was under the close surveillance of the task force. As a result, the police easily got their hands on the briefcase.